on YouTube? It's your boy, Mr. Random, and in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make your C4 Corvette a million times faster with some relatively quick, cheap, and easy modifications, guys. You don't want to miss this video. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, now we're going to start things off with number 10, the Frisbee mod. Now, what the hell is a frisbee mod, and does removing it make your C4 faster? Well, I'm glad you asked. The quote-unquote frisbee, as it became known as, was actually a damper for AC vibrations. However, many years later, C4 engineers actually admitted that it really wasn't even necessary to have. So, many C4 owners started removing the 10-pound disc, and instantly noticed significant differences in their cars. The mod itself only really takes a few minutes, as all it requires is a few bolts to be removed. Not only will you be shedding 10 pounds off your overall weight, but many owners have reported horsepower gains of up to 10 HP. Now, next up is the good old trusty muffler delete. Ah yes, the muffler delete. Not only will you be making your already light AF C4 even lighter by removing both resonators, which combined total out to a whopping 25 pounds, but you'll also gain a few extra horses while you're at it, between 8 and 10 to be precise. But the best part of all is you finally get to hear that 350 cubic inch V8 roar to life, especially given the fact how damn quiet a stock C4 vet can be. Now next up is the EGR tube bypass. This by far is one of the quote-unquote crudest mods on the list. It initially developed to recirculate exhaust gases to improve emissions back in the day. This mod essentially requires you to cut off your EGR tube and plug the open end of it. Now, two things will be accomplished by doing this. Number one, you'll avoid the issue of having your EGR tube clog up later down the road, which they all do, by the way. And second, your car will breathe better since it no longer will be recirculating old exhaust gases. However, expect your fuel economy to drop a few mpgs, but given the fact that the C4 Corvette can actually get a little over 30 miles per gallon at times, that's not saying much. Now, next up is the air pump / smog pump delete. You gotta love the early to late 80s, man. Yet another part of the C4 that was designed to recycle exhaust fumes for better emissions and less polluting. All it did was just clutter the engine bay and rob your engine of power. Now, installing a smog pump delete will get rid of some more excess weight. It will let your car breathe better, and it clears up that dreaded driver's side alternator bolt that blocks your valve cover. If you don't know about that, eventually one day you will, and you'll be glad that you did this smog delete. Now, if you ask me, that is 3 birds with 1 stone right there, and that's never a bad thing. And now, moving on up to the next cheap mod on the list, and that is a K&N Performance Air Filter. It's cheap, easy to get, and most importantly, easy to install. The K&N Performance Air Filter is slightly slimmer than the stock air filter, which allows a bit more cold air into the engine, which in turn adds about another 5 horsepower, all the while being safe and not triggering any check engine lights on your car. Your C4 Vet will remain cooler, and you'll also experience an increase in throttle response. And you can't have a K&N filter installed without an airbox delete, which is our next cheap modification. You see, those two go hand in hand. However, the airbox delete is yet another crude mod as it requires you to cut a giant square hole in your stock airbox. Yes, as you guys can see on this red Corvette, K&N does make a actual perfectly cut ABS type plastic pre-cut out airbox, but if you want to save yourself about $400 for that whole kit, and you happen to have an angle grinder handy, you might want to do the way that I did it and just cut it out yourself and save yourself $400. Now, the gains are actually pretty damn good, especially when combined with a K&N air filter. As many C4 owners know, our vets tend to suffer from extreme amounts of heat soak because of how the hood and front bumpers were designed. Doing an airbox delete is one way of ensuring your Corvette stays cold and your air intake breathes in as much as possible. And last but not least is a bonus spare tire delete. Yes, I said spare tire delete. Now, if I'm going to keep it real, there's not much that can be done to a C4 Corvette to improve its speed without forced induction. So you have to work with what God gave you, and one of those things is being lightweight. That includes from removing the bulky stock rear speakers to removing the spare tire located underneath the C4. In doing so, you'd be removing almost 40 pounds when fully inflated. Combine that with all the other mods I mentioned today, and you'll be putting the rest of the dads at the next Corvette meet to shame.